Otherwise, do we have any gentlemen in the room so that I know?
Actually looking through the list, but I don't recognize any gentlemen here. Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll see what I can do. All right, so ladies and gents, if we have any, read this, what I have on my slide, and see how you feel about that. Your presence accounts for more or less 30% of your success. Now, I'm not going to give you the precise percentage because there is so much research on, and there is no conclusive research that says, okay, your presence accounts for this or that. But I can tell you, ladies, that your presence is a significant part of your success. I myself have worked throughout many years in the corporate environment, and nowadays I work with many women and many men, and so I understand how incredibly important this is. This is what I want to tell you. You can be the most talented, the most experienced, the most knowledgeable in your field. Your performance will only get you so far. So your performance is just one part of your success, and another part is your presence. And you know what, ladies and gents, I still find that many junior as well as senior executives don't quite realize that their presence is relevant or is impacting their impact at the workplace, is impacting their influence and essentially their success. They don't realize that there is a connection between the two, and what happens? They complain. Hey, how can it be that I'm not getting the opportunities? I do have the essential experience. How come that it's not happening to me? Now, if you have ever asked that question to yourself, it may be that it's got something to do with your presence. And this is going to be the topic of today. Before I start and I give you some more information about what it's all about and how we can all start developing our presence, or what we call executive presence, let me just share with you a little anecdotal story. Yeah, it's anecdotal for me now, but trust me, when it happened, it was not funny at all. It happened about 5 years ago when I came back to the Czech Republic, where I'm originally from. I lived 22 years in all over the place, and I came back and I started to reside in Prague. And of course, at that time, I didn't know anyone. So I participated in all sorts of social networking events in order to get to know people. And I remember there was this one event I went to. It was in the heart of the capital, the heart of Prague. It was a very lovely place with sophisticated looking people. And I was just roaming about and I was looking for some friendly face to talk to. And I bumped into this gentleman at the bar. And, you know, as it happens sometimes that you meet someone and you immediately connect. Yeah, you have this immediate chemistry. This is what we had. He was in his 50s. He was very intellectual. We had a lot of things in common, and we started this amazing conversation. And before we knew it, we were an hour and a half talking about, you know, deep stuff about life and stuff. Anyway, so an hour and a half into this conversation, the most enriching conversation, and I really loved this person in front of me, and I thought, wow, aren't I lucky to bump into this guy? He stands up and he takes me by my hands and he says, Alena, I'd love to give you a present. Can you imagine? You know, I was like, I could already picture all these stories in my head. I was so excited. I almost heard the wedding bells. You know what I mean, right? So he stands there holding my hands and he says, you know, I'd love to give you a present. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I think you're such an amazing woman. And I was like, oh my goodness, oh, I'm so good. And then he continues, you know, before we started chatting, I was observing you for a while as you were here walking around, and there is something that I would like you to know. You look so strict and stern that I am sure that people must be really scared of you. And with these words, my dear ladies and gents, he left me there in the middle of, you know, the room, and I was like paralyzed. Now, I'm not going to, this is a long story, and I'm not going to bother you with it, but I have to tell you that it impacted me tremendously, because at that time it hit me that my mere presence could be actually turning people off. And coincidentally, it's not the first time I heard the message. It's just that this gentleman was so direct and explicit that I finally got it. So in fact, he gave me the biggest present. So now, ladies and gentlemen, think about the implications of this in the working environment. In here, I've got people who are surely super talented, ambitious, you want to run big projects, you are ready to take on big opportunities. Now imagine that just like me, your presence gives off signals that actually turn people off. What is going to happen? Well, not much, right? And so, performance is just one part of your success. Executive presence, your presence is incredibly important. Remember this. Each and every time you walk into a room, you signal out to others a whole series of things. And based on these signals, based on these subtle cues, people are making snap judgments about you. So this is something that we have to understand. We have to understand that, let me see if I can turn the slide, perceptions, my dear ladies and gentlemen, matter. So people, when you think about it, you go around in life, or we go around in life judging each other. I see you and I perceive you. I perceive the subtle cues from your presence. And based on that, unconsciously, I don't do it consciously, unconsciously, in a matter of milliseconds, I make a snap judgment about you. She looks like a nice person to have around. She looks so arrogant. No. You know, if I don't have to deal with her, better. So can you imagine this? You may not, you know, sometimes you don't even open your mouth and people already jump into certain conclusions about who you are, about your abilities and capabilities. So it's the first thing that I'd love to highlight, my dear friends, is that as horrible as it sounds, perceptions matter. And we need to understand this. People jump into snap judgments about you based on what they see, based on what they hear, and based on what they feel when they see you, and how they feel about you in your, how they feel about themselves, how they feel about themselves in your presence. So if you want people to give you an opportunity, if you want to grab that next big chance, you need to make sure that you signal out to the outside world that you are ready for that opportunity. And I want to tell you about a theory of these signals that you radiate out without even knowing. It's a theory which was developed, maybe you know these gentlemen, because they lectured for a while at the Harvard University. It's Matthew Kohut and Jeff Neffinger. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And it's the theory of the different signals that we radiate through the way we look, through the way we speak, and through the way we act, because that is what people perceive through their different senses. And I want to tell you about this particular theory because there are others, because I find it so easy to explain and so easily applicable. Okay, so when people see you, as I told you, they immediately make snap judgments about you. And there are two questions in their head. What are the intentions of this person towards me? And then how credible, how competent is this person? These are the two questions lingering in the mind of the others when they see you at a presentation, when they see you in a job interview, when they see you interacting with them. So, if you want to get people on your side, you need to make sure that you radiate signals that tell the others that you are a person that is credible, and that you are a person that is trustworthy. How do we do that? Well, I'll give you some ideas. We'll do that by radiating signals of strength and signals of warmth. And I'm going to give you concrete examples of how you can do that. Now, it sounds easy, but it's not that straightforward. In fact, Matthew Kohut and Jeff Neffinger say that great leaders, they emanate onto the outside world these two signals at the same time, and that's a challenge. Because when you think about it, think about your interactions with other people. When you look at them, when you hear them speak, many times the person emanates a huge amount of strength. Yeah, they know what they're doing. They seem very competent. They talk in a very confident manner, but their signals of strength are so strong that you don't really detect the other part, the warmth. When someone emanates a lot of strength, they are typically perceived as pushy, even arrogant. If it's a woman emanating very strong signals, she will be very quickly labeled the bitch. Yeah, and I know what I'm talking about, my dear friends. So the other thing happens as well. Some people, and this is especially true for women, so ladies, listen out. Some of us, we emanate a tremendous warmth. You know, what can I do for you? And so much warmth in the way we speak, in the way we interact with people, in the way we manage interactions. I'm going to give you some examples that we are not seen as competent. We're seen as really nice. Have you seen that woman? She's really nice. She's so friendly, isn't she? But I'm not going to give her that project because she does not. I don't see her as someone who can make stuff happen, who is confident, who is competent enough. So that is the problem with these signals. It's easy to say, okay, if you want to have influence and impact in the professional environment, you need to radiate out both strength and warmth, but to achieve a balance is not easy. Let's talk about it, shall we? So, I'm just gonna push. So, I told you that as soon as you walk into the room, people perceive you and they make snap judgments about you. They see you. And so it's very important that through the way you look, you emanate both strength and warmth to tell the people that you are credible and you are trustworthy, so that they give you the opportunity. At the same time, people hear you. So it's important that you emanate these strength and warmth through the way you speak. And finally, you need to emanate these through the way you act. Let's jump into the first one, how you look. So when people look at you, what do they see? What do they see? It's easy, isn't it? They see they see your personal characteristics. So it may be your ethnicity, it may be your gender, it may be the color of your skin, it may be your body shape, your body size. So they see some personal characteristics, and vast majority of these personal characteristics you have no control over, yet they emanate these signals. And if you don't know how to control them, they may be emanating too much strength and there is very little warmth, which you will be perceived as maybe competent, but not a good team player, not a nice person to have in the team. Or the other way around, it's too much warmth, but not enough credibility. So, maybe some of the stuff that I'm going to say is not going to be very politically correct, but I want to be super honest with you, sharing my own experience. Also remember, okay, I'm white, that's an advantage, but I have lived in many different countries and I know what it is to live as someone, as a foreigner in a country. We face a lot of prejudice. We face a lot of, stereotypes, etc. I could be telling you stories. The same if you're a person of color, for our African American community. By default, a person of color emanates quite a bit of strength. Yeah, so their presence may be very, very strong, and if it's too strong, they may be deemed as aggressive, but maybe they're not at all. It's just their presence. Or imagine your body shape or body size. Okay, over the size, you've got a lot of control, but over your body shape, not so much. You need to know that if you have a fit body radiates a lot of vigor, resilience. You're showing to people that you're taking care of yourself, and that emanates a lot of, good, balanced strength. Oh yeah, can you see how biased it is? People will automatically think, well, you know, I'm going to listen to them. Whereas if you were large, that will also emanate a certain amount of signals, yeah, which may not work in your favor. So these are personal characteristics. The vast majority of them you can't influence, yet they emanate, they radiate either a lot of strength or a lot of warmth. Warmth, for instance. People who are older, you know, past a certain age, they will be emanating more warmth than strength, meaning it may not be in their favor. Whereas people who are very young, stepping into their first job, they will be emanating a lot of warmth because, you know, you're young, you don't really have much experience. Just by the looks, people will come to those judgments, to those conclusions about you. You can't choose your age, yet your age, the way you look, emanates all these signals. Be aware of that. Awareness is the first step of success. If you're aware, you have the power, because there is so much you can do about it in order to balance out your signals. Another thing that people see is your body language, of course. So this is quite interesting. You know, I teach a lot of public speakers when they have to present at major conventions, and one of the stuff that we do is I make them do something very painful. Yeah, they hate it, but they thank me later on. I make them record videos of themselves, because that's when they see how they appear to others on stage. Okay, they cry, they shout, they drink a lot when they see that, but it's essential, because your body language, you're not conscious of it. You don't know what you're doing when you're under stress. You don't know what you're doing in that high-stake meeting. You don't know how you appear on stage, yet your body language emanates a lot. And it can be a signal of maybe too much strength or too much warmth. Ladies, what do you think we do when we speak in public? Many of us, we have a body language that is closing. We're almost trying to hide because we're so shy. We're a little bit nervous. We're constantly doubting ourselves, and it shows in our body language. So imagine that you're an expert on the subject you're talking about, but you're talking with very closed gestures. You can't really see me, but imagine that you're crossing you're standing and you're crossing your legs, or how do you call this? You know, when you have one leg over the other, when you're standing, I don't know how to call this. That emanates, you know, very low strength. It's like you're hiding, and people automatically come into the conclusion, oh, she's probably not as expert on the subject as she is, you know, trying to say. And it's just because you don't manage your body language correctly. So whatever you do with your hand, whatever shows in your face, your posture, it emanates a tremendous amount of signals, and you need to know how to control these signals if you want to get people's buy-in. Through your body language, you need to emit both strength and warmth at the same time. Example, how do you emit strength with your body language? Well, if you're standing, you stand upright, you have gestures that are opened, inclusive. So instead of slouching, this emanates very low strength. I wish I could show you, but I'm sitting down, so it's kind of difficult. Yeah, but even in Zoom, because nowadays all of our talks are online, You know, if I was constantly hiding my hands, and if I was slouching like this, maybe if I was more distant from the screen, you would also have jump into certain conclusions about me and my confidence, you know, and maybe I'm an expert, but I don't convey that message that I'm an expert. So your body speaks. Do you know what story is your body saying? You need to understand that. So recording yourself on videos is a good learning exercise, definitely. You will cry, but at least you will gain some awareness of how you're being perceived by others. Another thing that people see is your personal image, what you're wearing, what your style is, what colors you wear. All that emanates also these strength or warmth signals. So ask yourself the question when you're stepping into an important business meeting, are you dressed for success? Does what you're wearing making you feel good? Because if you feel good in what you're wearing, you will feel more powerful, I can tell you that. Do the colors that you're wearing flatter you or not? Is your dress appropriate to the environment? Is your outfit not distracting? Now, again, I wish I didn't have to say this, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I see this time and time again in major high-stake meetings. I see ladies appearing in, well, okay, it's not exactly a miniskirt, but almost. So imagine a pink flowery dress with a low cleavage, which leaves very little to imagination, with super high heels. Now, look, with that outfit, you're going to be very, very successful on a date. So I encourage you to use it. But you know what? In a work environment, your outfit is going to be hugely distracting. Do you think that with that outfit, people will see you as credible and competent and strong enough to make that project happen? I very much doubt that. So personal image is important. So these are the three aspects that you need to have in mind. People see you. They see your personal attributes, they see your body language, and they see your style, your image. It all matters. And through all these, you need to emanate both strength and warmth. And if by characteristics that you can't change, you're emanating too much strength or too much warmth, you need to balancing out other aspects. If you're interested in more examples, we can leave it to the questions at the end because I have tons. So that is how you look. People see you, so you need to manage how you look if you want to be seen as credible and trustworthy. Another aspect is, oh my goodness, Deepti. Yes, I'm talking a lot, right? Okay. It's 17:39. I'll have that time in mind because I want to make sure that I address the questions.
Yeah, if we can wrap this up in the next 5 minutes, Alena, yes. We can leave some questions. Okay.
Perfect. Yes. So yes, balancing strength and warmth is a challenge when it comes to how you look, how you speak. People hear your voice. So many people do not know how to use their voice as an instrument of power. They're either too monotonous, which is boring, or they don't change their volume, so it becomes boring, it's not compelling enough, or they just don't play with the voice melody. So voice is one thing that you need to train yourself to use as an instrument of power. Yeah, you need to use your voice as if it was an instrument that you play, because that makes it so much more compelling to your listeners. And your listener can be your future boss. Yeah. Another thing that people hear is your words, the words you speak. And in here, my dear friends, I'm talking about your communication skills and abilities that are critical for your success. Your communication must be concise. What do I mean by that? Ladies, take note, because this is typically our problem. We are very indirect. It takes us forever to get to the point. We use a lot of flowery language. That's a mistake. If you want to be perceived as credible and trustworthy, you need to be more direct. You need to express your opinions clearly, concisely, to the point. So, communication concise. Be careful about the words that you use. And also your words needs to convey strength. Sometimes we use a lot of, maybe, I think, we should. No, the facts speak for themselves. This is the direction that we should go. Yeah, so choose your words wisely. Your communication must be concise. Your communication also must be compelling, because you need to ensure that people actually want to listen to you. Storytelling, ladies and gents, is a wonderful way to make your communication more compelling, because storytelling triggers a lot of emotions in people, and it immediately makes what you're saying more compelling. People want to hear more about it. People feel whilst you're talking, they actually imagine what it must be to be in your skin, or to be in the skin of the person that you're talking about as part of your story. So storytelling is hugely important if you want to be credible and trustworthy. So your communication skills are huge, and there also is your ability to express your opinions, to express objections, to say no. This is very important. Saying no can earn you a lot of credibility, because people will see, she's got the confidence to object. She's got the confidence to say what she thinks about this issue. So how you speak, take care about the words, and take care about your voice. And finally, my friends, people feel you. They feel something about you when they see you, and they feel about themselves when they are in your presence. So in here, I'm talking of your gravitas. Very important. Your gravitas is your ability to project confidence, to project decisiveness, to project decisiveness, integrity. And in here also is the aspect of your emotional intelligence. Ladies, sometimes we don't know properly how to react to criticism. We tend to take things very personally. And so when someone criticizes us, we get a bit emotional and we lose credibility in that moment. Gravitas also means that you know how to react under fire. When the situation is high stake, when it's a nerve-wracking situation, you remain cool and calm. That projects a lot of credibility and a lot of trustworthiness. So your gravitas, your ability to show confidence, integrity, decision-making, trustworthiness, and handling of emotions. You can do it. You're not going to lose your cool. You can make stuff happen, even in a situation under a lot of pressure. So to break this to a conclusion, because I want to give space to your questions. Performance will only get you so far. Another important element of your success is your presence. Remember, each time you walk into a room, you're emanating all sorts of signals through the way you look, through the way you speak, and through the way you act. People take in these signals, they make snap judgments about you, and based on these snap judgments, they make decisions about their interactions with you and whether they give you the big opportunity or not. So make sure that with your presence, you radiate out to the world your preparedness for the next big challenge. Make sure that you radiate signals of warmth and signals of strength to tell everyone that you are credible, you are competent, you have what it takes to make that project or that stuff happen. And on the other hand, you're a nice, good team worker. You're trustworthy. You are someone who genuinely cares. So make sure that with your presence, you indicate to others, yes, I am prepared for the next big challenge. There is a sentence that I want to conclude, and I love that. Opportunity is not given to everyone. Opportunity is given to the one who appears ready. So I know you're ready. Make sure that your presence shows the same to all the other people to see. Okay? And now I'll just leave the space to you and to your questions. Deepte.
Thank you, Alena. We did get a couple of questions going through the Zoom chat. So Aratrika Rath is asking, how to make yourself heard in a meeting, especially when other people keep on hijacking it and not give you a chance?
Very good question. So basically how to manage interruptions, right? We want to say something, but we keep getting interrupted. So many things that you can do. First, you stand your ground. If someone is trying to interrupt you, you can say in a nice way, I would love to finish my point. If they jump into what you're saying again, or if they talk over you, you keep repeating this. I would love to finish this point. Would you please let me finish that point? Or you don't even need to ask. I would love to finish my point. I guarantee you that if you repeat the same thing several times, they will take you into account. But of course, you're not only indicating this verbally, but you also need to indicate with your body language that you want that attention. Yeah. I would love to complete that point. Excuse me. I would love to finish my point. Excuse me. Yeah. So by repeating and by asking for your word, and don't be afraid to even raise your arm. Yeah. Make your body larger, occupy more space, indicate that you have the right to say something. Your opinion is valid. And also, you know what works very well? Humor. Humor. Sometimes we take ourselves so seriously and we get so upset. Oh, he interrupted me. How does he dare? No, lightness. You can even, you know what works? Address the person by their name. John. John, I'd love you to let me finish. John, come on. You know, you can add, it depends on the type of relationship that you have with that person and where they are in terms of hierarchy. But humor really, really works. Yeah.
Thank you, Alena. We have another question from Zara. She says, strength and warmth can look different to different people. The first could, for example, black or brown or larger person versus lighter skinned Asian or a white smaller person. The first could be expected due to stereotypes and the later could be deemed unexpected and not taken seriously. How do you recommend navigating this?
Yes. So the first thing is you need to be aware that by your mere presence, people might be jumping into certain conclusions, okay? Self-awareness is first. Second, okay, what do I do about this? People may not perceive me as credible enough. So could I compensate with my attire? For instance, when I train the very junior executives, especially women, they say, you know, Alena, they don't really take me seriously because they see me as really, really young. And of course, they look 18, yeah? So if you look 18, you're emanating a lot of warmth. There is no strength. So you need to up your speaking. So you can do it by your volume, the volume of your voice. You can do it using very strong words, having a strong rationale, yeah, and talking, really boosting up your communication and public speaking skills, because that will help you with your credibility. Also, there are things that you can say about your achievement and the type of experience you already have despite your young age. So what I'm trying to say is, if by your looks you project something, then try to compensate the missing part by the other aspects. What else can I do through the way I speak? What else can I do through the way I act with the people, so that I am perceived either more credible or more warm? Yeah. One example, I have a very dear friend who is of Middle Eastern descent, and he happens to be a director of sales in one company. And I'm going to be now very stereotypical. In the country where this person lives, there is a stereotype of a Muslim terrorist, okay? People kind of have the same image in their head. When you say a Muslim terrorist, that's exactly how my friend looks like. That's exactly how he looks like. And I always make fun of him. How the hell do you do that when you travel so much? Don't they do a complete body search every time at the airport, you know? And he always laughs at me and he jokes about it. He knows this. He knows that by his looks, he emanates a tremendous amount of strength. And so he boosts up his warmth by the way he interacts with people. He has these conversations, but he means it in a genuine way. He's got these conversations with people. He smiles. He wears the best suits ever. So he compensates with the other elements that we have talked about. But can you see, it starts with self-awareness. He is aware that his looks basically signal out something. So he tries to compensate it.
Thank you, Alena. That was wonderful. We have about 6 minutes. So if you could stop share your screen share, it'd be wonderful to interact with you in person the rest couple of minutes.
Stop. Yes.
Welcome back.
Yes. and if we can, but you could see my image even with the slides, no?
I couldn't. I don't know if anyone else could.
Oh my goodness, I hope they could, because otherwise it's very boring just to see slides. Ladies and gents, if I could just ask you to switch on the camera if you have the possibility, so that we can have this conversation. And hit me with your questions.
We had another question from Maggie Chan. Maggie, if you could unmute yourself and ask your question, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to know what are some steps you think for us to begin working on improving how people hear us, mostly around our voice and working on storytelling. I think that's always been something that I was aware of, but like find it hard to work on my own.
I see. Okay, great question. Thank you for that. Look, I always repeat the same. It all starts with self-awareness. Other people hear you. You don't hear yourself. Start recording yourself on a video and check how your voice sounds. Is it maybe too low intensity that people can't hardly hear you? Are you whispering? If you're whispering, you're not compelling. Yeah. Sometimes there is a moment in which we can decrease our voice to basically allow some space for people to reflect on an important issue that we just mentioned. But then we need to increase the voice again and play with it so that people just want to continue listening to us, because if we're too monotonous, it's a little bit boring. So record yourself and see how your voice sounds like. Does it sound like someone with strength, someone who is competent? Does it sound like someone who is trustworthy, someone who really cares? Check it. And then, we don't have much time to go into the different techniques. This is something that I do with women, but when people want to start training their voices, one of the stuff that we can do is, if you listen to a radio or if you listen to your favorite TV presenters, you can start listening to how they're using their voices, and you can start talking as if you were them. Yeah, so it's like how could I say that? You pretend you're that person in private, yeah, when you're practicing. It's really nice to try different coats on and see how you feel when you talk in this way or that way, how it feels when you increase your voice, whether you continue to be shy or it gives you more power. So experiment with your voice, and definitely public speaking classes. They're brilliant in order to train your voice. Yeah, so self-awareness, do videos, cry, but then you'll know how people hear you. Try copying different people that you admire, TV hosts, radio hosts. See how it is to use the voice the way they do. See how it feels. And then get yourself some public speaking training, which is very important for the storytelling, yeah, especially, because storytelling, it's not only about telling stories. They need to have a point. There needs to be a moral to the story. So you need to learn how to choose the most appropriate stories to convey your point in a certain context. So again, public speaking trainings or public speaking books or check videos. There's tons of stuff that you can do, but the voice needs to be trained. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Alena. That was some wonderful insights for all of us. Yeah. So we just are 1 minute more. So for all the folks who've joined today's call, thank you all for joining. And we have the next SHELeads session that commences on November 4th. So you all can reach out to Alena outside the call and set up time with her to know more about it and, to interact. So Alena, some parting words for this community, and what is the best space to contact you?
Yes, thank you, Deepti. Yeah, Deepti actually mentioned my SHELeads program. I've been running this for female executives for the past 4 years, and we're about to start the 6th edition on the 4th of November. So if you are in a if you are in a position in which you manage large projects or you manage teams of people, or you're getting ready for that role, then that would be a good program for you, because in that we address all these things that I have mentioned, and we basically help ladies acquire all the essential skills and abilities to have more influence, to have more impact at the workplace. Yeah. So if you want to know more, make sure you connect with me. I will, you can connect with me through LinkedIn, through Instagram, through Facebook. Deepti, will we have some opportunity to kind of share with the audience my contact details?
Sure. I think Michaela already put up your website, the SHELeads link out there. Yeah. And I think we also have some other information in the Zoom chat.
Yeah, we can send a follow-up email to the people who attended if you'd like, Alena, and we can just be in touch about what to share.
Fabulous. And if any of you ladies feel that you want to know more, whether this could be something for you, feel free to get in touch, and I will just arrange a brief call, and together we will determine whether it's the right fit for you or not. And otherwise, my friends, remember this really, because your performance will only get you so far. You need to also work on your presence. And as I said, it sounds horrible, but we really need to make sure that people perceive us as people who are competent, so that they give us the opportunity. We need to make sure that people see us as people who care, who are really trustworthy, and who they would like to have on their teams. So make sure that you don't make it all only about your performance. It's definitely essential. It's critical for your success, but it's not everything. Don't ever forget about the performance. Start by becoming aware of the type of signals that you emanate. Ask your friends, ask your peers, ask your boss if you have a confidence. Ask someone, because you don't know. You don't know. That's the problem. Record yourself on a video. That's another channel through which you can get to know yourself a bit more. Or sign up for different programs. You know, my program is just one of the things that you can do. There's tons of stuff, but work on your presence, because it's really important part of your success. So if you're talented, well, not if you are, I assume that you are, because you're here on this webinar. So make sure you leverage that talent, but by indicating to the outside world, hey, I am here and I am ready for the challenge, for the opportunity. So are you going to give it to me? Yeah. So thank you so much. I understood that we recorded this session, right? Okay, fabulous. If anyone would like to have a replay, to check the slides. And finally, if any of you, I have tons of resources. I have an expert of an article that I wrote for a leadership magazine on the signals. If you want that, get in touch. I have resources for the female managers. If you want that, get in touch and I can send it to you. And don't forget, you know, if you feel intrigued by the SHELeads program, you want to discuss it, get in touch and I will tell you more about it. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alena.
Thanks, Alena.
And thank you everyone for joining today. And yes, I did record, and we'll send a follow-up email in the next day or so with details for how to connect with Alena and the recording. So thank you, Alena, again. Thank you, Deepti. And I hope everyone has a great evening or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. 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 And Deepti?
Yep.
Yes, or Michaela, if I could ask you, I would love to read the comments in the chat. Obviously, I didn't manage to read it. Could some of you save it and send it to me?
Yes, it should be saved with the recording. So I'll make sure that I save it and then send it to you as well.
Okay, that would be wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, ladies.
Thank
you for
you.
giving
Thanks,
me the
everyone.
opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for speaking. It was such a wonderful event. I'm really glad that you spoke with us
Excited.
today.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I feel like I definitely have some things to take away and think about.
Yes, we all do. We all
Yeah,
do.
yeah. So thank
There's
you
going
for
to be the
sharing.
retrospective and introspective session for all of us, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.